Hello and welcome, all my beautiful, vibrant souls, to today's reading. Today is a bit of a tender one, I have to say. It's going to be an inner child healing reading. So we're going to be looking at what kind of inner child wounding that is, that's occurred, that may have been a one-time thing, could have been a pattern, but that's made an impact that's still affecting you today. I do offer this reading for, as a personal reading. The link for this, as well as the link for my shop in general, is in the description box below. So if you found this helpful and you're looking for something a little more personal, please feel free to check that out. These are one of my favorite readings to do because these are so important in my estimation. Thank you to anyone who has booked an inner child healing reading with me, or really any reading with me. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. It just means the world to me. You guys are making my little dreams come true. So thank you. So I just want to kind of put out a couple of little housekeeping notes really quick before we dive into this reading. Sorry, the cloth is like bothering me. I don't think I'll ever be able to just leave it be. So I want to just mention briefly, first of all, putting out a general trigger warning. I haven't seen any of the cards yet. I'm going to be pulling tarot live on camera, and I like to channel a lot while I'm reading. All of that kind of coalesces together to mean that sometimes difficult and emotionally triggering subject matter may come up. So if at any point you're feeling too overwhelmed or just kind of stressed out or anything like that by this reading, please feel free at any time to put it down. You can always come back to it another time. The messages will still be there for you whenever you're ready, if ever you're ready. Because this is a general reading, as opposed to a personal one, you may find that some of the messages apply, some don't. These could be things that you're already aware of. These could be things that you're like, yep, it's on my radar, I'm working on it. These could be things that you hadn't really considered before. Maybe you're not aware, but you're like, oh yeah, actually that makes sense. But as always, general readings, if you get a piece of it, that's a good, that's usually a good indicator. Anything that you can take from it that resonates with you in your story, that you would like to claim as your own and use as a tool for your own spiritual growth, feel free to do so and to disregard the rest. The last thing I want to kind of mention before we get into all of the cards here is just kind of, what my role is in this situation. So I'm not like a licensed mental or physical health professional. Nothing we talk about should be considered substitution for professional diagnosis, treatment, or advice. But my role here is to try to provide a spiritual perspective to the earthly events that you've experienced. And in doing so, I'm really hoping that this provides some type of clarity, validation, support, perhaps insight, so you can move forward on your journey, both healing and otherwise, in the best, most empowered energy and being able to make the best decisions for yourself by your own estimation. So that's really what my goal is here. I just kind of want to make sure we're all on the same page before we get into it. I'm also going to be periodically checking to make sure I'm in the frame. Yeah, cool, just like this. So if you hear me moving around, that's what's going on. So as usual, we have 3 groups to choose from today. We have group 1 with this little armadillo. Look at him. Oh my goodness. Love it. We have option 2 with this swanky shanky little fluorite point. I love it. It's power. It's fire. And we have option 3 with this gold stone. So take as long as you need. Meditate, contemplate on the stacks in front of you. When you have picked one that resonates with your energy the best, head down to the description box for the timestamps. That will take you to your selected option. And with that, I'm going to start with group 1. Okay. Hi, group 1. So the first thing I was kind of getting when I picked up this little armadillo, just to show it before, is he's got his little green eyes, right? And sometimes I get different things from this, but I'm almost feeling like there's something here where I feel like there is a barrier between you and other people, right? Armadillos are really known for putting up boundaries. That's like their spiritual medicine. There's like a barrier between other people, and I kind of feel like with the green eyes, I almost think of like, you know, jealousy or envy with a green-eyed monster, in the sense that I feel like maybe you struggled socially a lot, or there's always a sense of like comparing yourself to others. There's a sense of self-judgment and this feeling of othering. And I feel like that's caused you over time to put up some walls and some boundaries. That's made it hard to get close to people, at least in certain contexts. So that was the initial thing I was getting from that. But I just wanted to share. Can you see him? I put him in the corner. Unlike baby, everybody puts him in the corner. So yeah, okay. I think that is, I'm just making sure you can see everything. Cool, sorry. Okay, now I'm here, I'm present with you. So if you've ever gotten an inner child healing reading with me, you'll know that this is the deck that I use for that. Sometimes they pop up in my other readings as well if I feel really drawn to use it. That usually tells me there's some healing that needs to happen. So this is a card that's going to give us kind of an idea of what is like the overall energy of this wound that needs healing. Okay, so we have card 40 that reduces to a 4. It's Angel of Time with Working Too Hard. Can you see that? All right, if I put that up there, will you be able to see that? Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm already noticing all the gears here, and this has got like Capricorn child energy, right? So maybe this is something where, you know, you felt very kind of like hemmed in by responsibility. Maybe you were that kid that was, you know, studying while other kids were out playing or out, you know, later on partying, having a good time, being social, and you were held to a higher standard, whether this is something where you held yourself to that standard in order to gain approval, or you know, you were held to that standard by parents and caretakers. But this feels like something where you kind of were restricted, whether this is self-imposed or this was like, you know, implied, or this is very tangibly real, like a parent telling you, hey, you need to study XYZ amount because you have to get into this school, something like that. So whether it's very overt or covert, and whether it's, you know, externalized or internalized or both, this feels like something where it's like this was the status quo, this was the way things were. And as a result, I feel like there's a little bit of like almost envy or frustration for people who got to kind of do things differently, right? For people who got to maybe like go have fun when you had to be serious, or people who are really comfortable expressing their authenticity, or they're very comfortable like taking a break, right? So you might find that you kind of have like this odd relationship where you do want to be closer with other people, but there feels like there's a disconnect almost. It feels like there's, like you had a really different experience. And that's just, yeah, that's the kind of first thing I'm getting. I'm also feeling like too with Angel of Time, you may have had to grow up really early, or just always been like kind of an old soul, and it was hard to like fit in when you were younger. So let's see what else you have. Oh, you have miracles. I love that. You can see that, yeah? All right, cool. So I'm so good at putting stuff out of the frame. So you have, what is it? Oh, you have Expression, yeah, with Flower Agate. This is card 3 with the throat chakra showing up. Okay, I think I'm starting to see. I should have mentioned this in the intro, but different groups got different amounts of cards from different decks. So I was like, okay, it evens out for the most part. But you guys got 3 of these ones, so let's see what you have. You have, oh, card 66 with Healing. Interesting, we have more blue here, so more throat chakra energy. Can you see that? Yeah, awesome. We have, wow, card 5 with Change again. We have so in this deck, as you can see, there are cards where the Merkaba is the same color as the background. There's ones where it's different. So when it's the same color, this to me talks about coming into alignment internally, and then your external alignment your external reality comes into alignment with your internal frequency. Okay. Wow, you got 3 of them. Oh, Dip and Manifestation, card 8. Okay. Okay. So, and you know, we're going to pull tarot in a little bit, but just what I'm getting immediately off the bat here is that I feel like for you guys, you put in a lot of work really early on in life. And again, this puts you on a really separate path than your peers. I feel like you've been doing work, you've been doing healing work, and this might be something that you're still working on. You've been doing healing work when it comes to authentic self-expression, allowing yourself to kind of just, because we have a lot of like blues and like greens, allowing yourself to express yourself emotionally, like very, very authentically, very freely. Because again, I feel like whether this is externally like imposed upon you or, you know, internalized or both, there's something where you really had to restrict yourself. There was a lot of weight and a lot of responsibility put on you early on in some way, shape, or form. But I feel like you guys have become aware of this and you've been working really hard to do the healing, because I feel like you're trying to manifest change for yourself. And with all the pink here, and I was noticing the little like pink orbs in this one, and her eyes are pink here too. With with the pink here, I feel like this is something that not only are you trying to manifest, but you're trying to manifest because it's in alignment with you in the heart and soul. And I feel like if you were attracted to this group, you've been trying to kind of let some of those walls down, let some of those boundaries down a little bit, or like soften them a little bit, both within yourself and then externally, to allow yourself to freely express yourself, right? And freely express what it is that you desire. And I feel like you guys have been being called to work on letting other people help support you as well. I also feel like you guys are manifesting something that's going to feel like a miracle, right? You've spoken that out to the universe, and this is why you're being called to do any healing work, because there is change coming. Again, you have 3 cards where the Merkaba is the same color as the background. So you are getting into alignment internally so you can manifest the changes you desire. But there's something here about working through something, like maybe this is something where, you know, with working too hard, you've always had to kind of be more serious, more practical. Maybe it's been really hard for you to let yourself just want something, right? Speak it to the universe. Just want something just because it makes you happy, just because it fulfills the desires of your heart. And I feel like you've been being called to to figure out what makes you genuinely joyful. And I know that sounds really simple, but I feel like if you pick this group, this is something that you're not used to doing. Maybe you've always had to put other people before you, right? With all the like cogs here, maybe there's always been a lot of moving parts to your life, and it's kind of been like you've put your own happiness on the back burner. I talked about this with a friend the other day, but we're talking about this concept that, you know, because if you've ever been in close conversation with me, you'll know I love ranting about the authentic self. But part of, you know, I feel a lot of problems for people come from being dissociated with the authentic self. And on top of that, you know, there's so much inertia behind our decisions. So people might not truly know themselves, and they end up, you know, going to a school they don't really want to go to get a degree that they're not actually really interested, you know, all that interested in. Or, you know, they don't really know what they want out of a partnership, and they spend a certain number of years with a person trying to figure out if that's what they're looking for. And then maybe, you know, they feel like they need to commit further, right? There's a lot of inertia behind the decisions that we make. And when I say inertia, I mean, you know, there's financial pressure, there's legal pressure, there's, you know, emotional, societal pressure behind the decisions that we make. So if we don't know ourselves well enough to know what we want and need, we make a decision and it happens to not be in alignment with us, and we kind of put our foot into it a little bit and figure that out. There's a lot of weight behind that, so it makes it very hard to course correct sometimes. And I kind of am getting that feeling here. I feel like if you picked this group, you've had a lot of inertia behind your decisions that's driven by other things in your life, other people's expectations, other people relying on you. It's just like you've had to be very, very serious very, very early on. And I feel like for this group, you've been working through, and maybe you're still working through, healing your relationship to joy, to authentic self-expression, to authentic emotional expression. And especially there's something here about speaking your wants and your dreams and desires to the universe and feeling heard, feeling like you deserve that, right? Feeling like your truth and the truth of your heart deserves to be listened to, and that like this deserves to come about in your life. And I feel like this is a huge thing that you're working on right now. As well as, again, you know, maybe kind of like softening some of those edges, or like letting down some of those walls so people can come in and help you. Because we have a 3 and a 5 right here, and these are both numbers of like changes and expansion. So I do feel like Oof, excuse me. And we have double sixes here as well, so we have a master number. I do feel like you're being helped toward allowing more people, excuse me, to help you, right? Maybe to come in and help balance the scales in your favor. 6 is a number of unconditional love and balance and reciprocity. So people who will come in and support you. And it's even, let me just look a little closer. It looks like a fairy, but my eyes are terrible. But it looks like this little fairy just like descended from the heavens and landed on her hand, right? And this is, to me, this is something where, especially if you've had, like, you've really had to go after things, you've had to kind of be on the grind, you've had to work. This is something where I feel like you've been softening a little bit to it, and you've been more in this space of allowing. And as a result, this is, whatever this manifestation is coming to you, like, pretty simply, like, without a lot of work, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to pull tarot. For this reading, I usually do one row to talk about the kind of initial wounding or event, and then one row to talk about how it might be impacting you currently. So, wow. Oh, the Lover's reversed. Okay. And see, one more card. No, it's not that one. Okay. I do want to look at it. Okay, Ace of Cups. This is very emotional in nature. Okay. That one. Alrighty, and yeah, Death is in reverse at the bottom. So for the initial wounding or event, you have the Lovers, you have the 10 of Wands, and the 7 of Cups. Yeah. Okay. So I feel like for a lot of you, there's something where we have Gemini energy showing up here. I feel like the inner child healing that needs to happen here is that there may have been a significant relationship that you were either a part of or you bore witness to, and it disintegrated, right? So if this is like a best friend, this is like, you know, your friendship fell apart. They like trashed your friendship. If this was like watching, you know, your parents' marriage fall apart, something like that. And whatever happened in the wake of this led you to feel like you had to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. That's kind of that 10 of Wands energy. And even here we see this cat with like that went hunting and came back with a snake in its mouth, right? And this also, like I said, this could be very direct, like what you had to do, but this also could be what you witnessed. So like if you watched your parents' marriage fall apart, right? Maybe whatever parent you ended up living with predominantly after that really had to like go out there and you know, scrap for like what was needed, scrap for material well-being, right? And this, so again, whether it's direct, like it involved you, so maybe you had to take up a parentified role, or you had to like start working and like get, you know, 1 or 2 jobs after school, and had to like, it's just like very, very serious. You had to work very, very hard, or you watched other people need to work very hard. Or this could be where like, you know, a single parent, or, you know, the parent who has primary custody has to work a lot. So you have to take up back up, Vanessa, need to take up household responsibilities. And I feel like the ultimate result of this is that I feel like there's a lot of confusion around relationships, around emotions, right, with the 7 of Cups. Because I can't tell if it's an aquarium or if it's a TV, but it looks like a TV to me, right? And this cat's looking at all the fish there. It's like, I feel like you have this vision for what it is that you want from love, from emotional connection. But it's like after watching this fall apart, there's a battle between the head and the heart. And I feel like you're used to capitulating to your logical self far more. So you might find that you know, when it comes to friendships, important relationships, maybe you have really, really, really like hardcore, you know, boundaries to the point where it's crossing over into like keeping your walls up. And that's not always a bad thing, but you know, it's just moderation and balance like everything else. But there's something here where, you know, I feel like there's confusion for you about how to successfully navigate emotional connections as a result. You know, this also could be where you might kind of like, for some of you with working too hard and healing, you may have kind of witnessed this and you've been sort of like on your healing journey, and it might be getting to that point where, I think many of us who have ever been on a healing journey are familiar with this, where, you know, you're kind of like, you like keep working on yourself to the point where it almost becomes like a little bit of like self-flagellation than it does. It becomes self-destructive instead of self-constructive, right? So there's something about that, but there's this, you know, with the Ten of Wands, watching this situation, especially because this cat's looking over here, watching this whole situation just like disintegrate and fall apart, really put you in this position where, especially too, because snakes can be demonstrative not only of deception, but transformation and healing. I feel like this left you with the responsibility to heal either yourself or others, and it's been with the steps here, it's like an uphill climb. Yeah, so I want to pull the second row and kind of find out how this might be impacting you currently. This one, but I do want to look. Eight of Wands. Okay, and it's interesting. This cat's carrying a little kitten in her mouth. So again, maybe you had to take up a lot of responsibilities that really weren't yours to take up. As a result, it's like you're holding on to something, you're carrying something as a result, and now is the time to kind of heal this so this change and this new manifestation can come about. But how this might be impacting you currently, we have the Four of Swords reversed. Wow, the Two of Swords reversed. And the Six of Cups. Okay. Okay. So for some of you with this combination, it's like you can see how this has impacted you, but you have a hard time moving past it. You might be having a hard time healing it. You know, this is soulmate energy. This is past life energy. This is also like childhood sweethearts. It's interesting that we have two cats here and then two cats here and two here. This also could put you in this place I'm kind of seeing where, when you do get into close connection with somebody, you can kind of maybe go back and forth a little bit between wanting to kind of move on or take action, wanting to be like more kind of, you know, drawing these swift, strict boundaries versus really just enjoying the feelings of love that you have with them, right? The affection, the connection. Because there feels like there's this kind of thing of like, if I enjoy it too much, the boom is going to get lowered later, and that's going to be really, really hard for me. So, you know, especially with the throat chakra and expression energy here, you might kind of be prone to try to take control in connections and sort of like, you know, maybe again, assert very, very strong, swift boundaries to the point where it's kind of more like putting walls up. Because this cat looks super mad. And this cat looks also kind of pissed, but less pissed. So there might be something where there's something that remains unhealed about this situation. I'm going to pull a card about that because I'm curious. There's something, and I feel like with the bird here, this is about expressing your emotions authentically, expressing your love, but also allowing yourself to enjoy that and to know that having love doesn't always mean it's going to fall apart, right? But there's something here about like going back and forth between, you know, struggling to have this authentic self-expression, right? So it's like you're taking action, but it never, you know, you're taking action, you're expressing yourself, but it never is the like vulnerable, authentic expression it needs to be, versus really like opening your heart, really being present with this other person. And I feel like, you know, either you can do one and then kind of get scared and then like, you know, it triggers the other, or, you know, there's this kind of energy where it might sort of go back and forth, or you might like, again, be in one energy and then it triggers up fears and then you kind of like swap over to the other. But with the Two of Swords, it's like making a decision. I feel like you end up making this decision without maybe fully communicating to the other person everything that's on your mind and in your heart, right? So this person, the other people that you're in close connection with in the past may have gotten very, very confused by this. Because again, there's this energy of needing to carry the weight of everything on you, and that may also be the weight of decision making in relationships. That might be the weight of, I've got to figure all this out by myself, you know, with all the like cogs here. I've got to figure out how it all fits together. I've got to make all these decisions, you know, with the number 40 reducing to a 4 for my own stability here. and without really involving the other person, right? Without really authentically, vulnerably opening up to the other person and talking about what you want and what you're afraid of. And working with them to see if you can manifest something that will make you both happy. So this is what I do feel like, this is kind of what I feel like is what you're sort of working through and what Spirit wants to bring to your attention. I am sort of curious though, I do want to pull a card for what this miracles is about, because I do feel like with miracles and manifestation, you've got something good coming in. Oh, okay, Queen of Swords. And the Three of Pentacles, perfect. Okay, so with miracles, I do feel, miracles and manifestation, I do feel like you're having a breakthrough. We have feminine air energy here, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. But in general, I feel like you're having a breakthrough very soon, where you're going to have a much clearer vision or a much easier time being able to understand what you want out of partnerships and be able to advocate for that, right? Be able to like have a very open discussion about, you know, the responsibilities in close connections, what you want for the future, what you want to manifest. If you have somebody in your life right now that you've been trying to have that conversation with, I do feel like that conversation is going to happen relatively soon. And it's going to be very successful. So especially if you've been afraid to, like, maybe you know what you want, but you're afraid to say it, or maybe you're not quite sure what you want. You're going to be getting clarity, and you're going to be getting that courage and that truth to be able to speak your authentic truth. And it's not like, you know, coming in hard and like, you know, slamming into people with your truth. This is very, just like very empowered, very self-possessed, but also very teamwork oriented, right? Very solutions focused with the Three of Pentacles. So that's really, really beautiful. I do feel like you're going to be having a lovely breakthrough in communication. Yeah, because the Five of Wands reversed at the bottom. Any power struggles you've been going through are going to kind of be alleviated and resolved. So I think this is just about everything I'm seeing for group one. I hope this has been helpful. Like I said, if you're looking for this reading for your own personal situation, please feel free to check out the links in the description box below. It's been an honor and a joy to get to read for you folks on this subject today. I am wishing you the best, the brightest, the most beautiful things that life has to offer, and hopefully I'll see you soon, all right? Okay, take care, guys. Bye. Hello, group two. Okay, so you guys picked the big old fluorite. Look at that. I do feel like whatever this is, there's a lot of layers to this. There might be a lot of layers to you as a person, and kind of getting clarity in a literal and like intuitive and spiritual sense about yourself might be part of this issue and this situation. I'm kind of getting, if you're attracted to this group, your spirituality is intimately intertwined with this. So you might be like a starseed or a light worker, and this might be kind of one of those things of struggling to sometimes find your footing or find your place. And this is part of this, right? But this also feels like, because it's like in its little, it's little like pointy, shanky shape here. I do feel like this is something where over time this kind of hones in, and there is a point of culmination here, and this is a point of enlightenment and clarity. So that is kind of what I was getting initially. So this is a card from the deck that I usually use for these readings to kind of get an overall feel for the energy of the healing that Spirit wants to talk about today. I mentioned this for group one. I should have said this in the intro, but everybody got different numbers of cards from different decks. So I just left it because I felt like that was applicable today. So buckle up, my sweet babies. So for yours, you have, oh shit, okay. This one's a more serious card in this deck. So you have Death and the Maiden. This is card 28. That reduces to a 10/2, or excuse me, wow, I was gonna say a 10/1, so maybe the number 2 is important here as well. Some of you might have your birthday on October 2nd or February 10th, or on the 2nd or a 10th of a month. because that was not supposed to come out like that. And this one is invasion, boundaries violated, and dominance. Okay. I'd like to get the rest of your cards out if that's okay first. Okay, wow. Okay. Support. You see that? This is actually totally confirming what I was about to say. Shoot, I should have said it first, but that's okay. That's all right. Excuse me. Ah! Oh, you have pink amethyst with soul star chakra, divine love. This is card 16. That reduces to a 7, in case that's important for you. You have, woof, okay, you have parenting, card 63, that reduces to a 9. And creativity, this is a 3. Okay. Alrighty, let's talk. So, first and foremost, the first thing I was getting off this card in this particular instance, can you see everything? There's little to no glare. Okay, perfect. The first thing I was getting off this card in this instance is that this card is an unfortunate card, right? Just because there's a lot going on. The skeleton's holding on to her. This girl is naked. Nakedness always implies this kind of vulnerability. She's got tears in her eyes. So this is always a card that has some kind of more sinister implications, and I will get to that. But one thing I was almost picking up here is that for some of you, I feel like you are highly psychically attuned. You can connect with energies on the other side. You can connect with people's energy anywhere in the world. And with boundaries violated, invasion, and dominance, I feel like especially in childhood, you may have attracted some not so great energies, right? Because when we're children, we're wide open and we don't really, unless we have caretakers who teach us how to, channel and utilize that energy, how to kind of protect our energy and cleanse, we can be open to being visited by some lower vibrational energies and spirits as well. So for some of you, especially with creativity and parenting coming out, for some of you, I feel like if you tried to express this to your parents or caretakers, they kind of just thought you were telling stories. It's like, that's nice, dear, kind of an energy, but like not really actually helping with that. But for this group, regardless of the situation, you are a very high vibrational person with the soul star chakra coming out and divine love. You're a very high vibrational person. We have pink amethyst. Amethyst is always about that third eye chakra energy, but it's also with the color pink being associated with the heart. Oh, excuse my burp, with the heart chakra. This is like your high vibrational love-based energies, your high vibrational emotional energies are really like one of the kind of like the sources of your power. You can connect very, very easily to those on the other side, to, energies and beings in other dimensions, other worlds, anywhere in the world. You can connect incredibly easily. Very cosmically intelligent, very spiritually gifted. And as a result, there's going to be a lot of different types of energies that are attracted to your frequency, right? You have this kind of like with the 3 and the creativity here, this very like, and all the yellow, very like joyous, abundant, kind of empressy energy here. And people are always going to be attracted to your light, both in the physical world, but also the spiritual realm. And I feel like in a spiritual sense, you may have had some really like scary encounters in childhood that were not appropriately addressed. This may have been like having really, really difficult dreams. You might literally have seen spirits, seen folks who are, the image of folks who are no longer embodied. This might be something where you saw it where you're like at school or in your home. You may have been very, very, very sensitive to certain things, like, going into old buildings may have been really, really hard for you. And I feel like it's just like kind of walking through the world misunderstood, particularly by your parents, right? Because we have the energy, so I was talking about this before, but as you can see in this deck, we have cards where the Merkaba is the same color as the background. And this to me means that your internal frequency is in alignment with your external reality, or like your internal frequency is now manifesting into your external reality. But when they're different, this to me says that your internal frequency has changed, like is at a different level than your external experience. So with blue and yellow showing up, we have throat and solar plexus chakra energy. I feel like your truth was not being acted on. Your truth was not being tended to. You do have quite a lot of spiritual support around you as well. And I feel like that's because you do have like some kind of divine mission here, but also your team is aware of your capabilities, your powers, and your sensitivities. I almost said sensibilities. So maybe they're aware of what you know, what you can do with that. But I do feel like, it's a double-edged sword, because you do have all this divine support, but when there were not so great energies around you, I feel like it really did a number on you, both psychically and energetically. So these could be like if you had crummy people in your life, like you may have been really sensitive to their energies. You could have been empathic and clairsentient, and going through public school can be a nightmare when you're being like blasted with everybody's emotional energy. There's just something here where this has everything to do with your your energetic and spiritual gifts and sensitivities, and not having those be appropriately supported or tended to may have been very, very hard. Now, I will say, so there's a little bit of cat fur here. I will say, and I want to put out kind of a trigger warning for any sort of like physical violence or sexual violence. Whenever I get this card, this to me can kind of talk about like physical or sexual assault. Just because she's naked and, the skeleton's like holding on to her, she's crying. The skeleton also doesn't have a lower jaw, meaning I feel like there's something where it went unspoken, or it's very much like don't tell kind of energy. And this doesn't have to be those examples, but this is just, with boundaries violated, invasion, and dominance being the words coming out here. I feel like we also have the number 9 showing up with parenting and 10 showing up here. For some of you, this was something where you had a parent that was constantly violating your boundaries, particularly your physical boundaries, and it didn't end until they had either passed on or they left your life, right? So maybe they got kicked out of the house and they never came back. There's a definitive ending with this death energy here. And that's just going to be for some of you, and if that is the case, I am so, so sorry. I'm going to try to remember. If I remember, I will put I'll put a link in the description box for like a hotline support if you have gone through something like that, because you certainly don't have to endure that by yourself. There's a lot of people out there who want to help support you in healing that. But I do just want to put that out there for some of you. That might be what's going on. For some of you, it also could be somebody else in your space. I do feel like somebody who was older, somebody who's in a position of authority and power. This could be a teacher. This could be an older sibling. And it doesn't, like I said, have to be, like physical violence or like sexual violence. This also can be, this could be something where somebody's just always in your space, right? Somebody's always taking your things. Somebody's always trying to control where you can move to, where you can't, right? It's dominance, and it's unacceptable. It's not okay. But it may not have been like direct, and or assaultive in like direct physical assault. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, and again, without the skeleton having a lower jaw, I'm really being drawn to the fact that there's something where I feel like you're such a loving spirit that this person, it's like they were like drawn to you. Like this person was like it almost is like parasitic energy a little bit, I'm going to be honest. But they were willing to invade your boundaries because they were just like, they're in a very low vibrational dark place, and they really wanted the love that you emitted, the energy that you emitted. Because again, with this kind of like empressy energy, I feel like you very easily emit love. It's like, it's just part of your nature, part of your frequency. And for some of you too, with the blue and the yellow, you told a parent about this and then no action was taken. But yeah, and for some of you, like I said, this also could be indirect, like you have somebody who's just in your space a lot or trying to control where you can move in your space. And this is difficult anyway, and like unacceptable anyway, but especially if you're very energetically sensitive, it can feel like that much more pressure, that much more of an invasion. And trying to explain this to parents may have been very, very challenging for you. So let's pull your tarot because I would like to dig a little bit deeper. I'm just noticing there's hair on this. I'm sorry. Is it mine or it's my cat's? I lint roll this thing too before I do readings. I'm just giving the deck a little shuffle. Okay, so usually when I do this reading, the first row of tarot I pull talks about the initial event or wounding, and then the second talks about how it might be impacting you currently. What was the initial event, the initial wounding, the initial issue here for my sweet, lovely group twos so they can get clarity? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, Three of Swords reversed. There's some heartbreak here. Okay, so you have the Four of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Five of Cups reversed. Interesting, because these are actually pretty positive cards like this. But for the initial event, I will say, for some of you, you had a parent leave your life, whether they passed on or there was like a split and you had a parent get remarried. And this may have been a challenge in and of itself, but particularly if this other parent that came in was not really great with respecting your boundaries. I feel like there's something here with the Nine of Pentacles where you really had to fight to have your freedom respected or your boundaries respected. Like it was a challenge for you to be able to get that respect, right? Because this is like the free, independent, you know, can take care of themselves kind of energy. So you may have kind of had to like really go off on your own or try to take care of your own. You may have had to break away from somebody in order to like have this semblance, you know, because the Nine of Pentacles person usually too is like great with self-care, again, like a mini version of the Empress. And you may have had to have a lot of time alone in order to be able to facilitate that. And that may have been kind of a mixed bag for you too, right? Even if this is like, this doesn't talk about, you know, a person necessarily invading your boundaries. You may have had to kind of, you know, in order to balance out your energies, you may have ended up spending a lot of time alone. And I do feel like that, again, that did create some kind of like, that was a mixed bag, right? Where it's like, okay, I might feel better when I'm alone, but I also don't want to be. I feel like eventually there's something here where like, I feel like with the Four of Wands, there is this desire for a lot of joy, a lot of stability with family, friends, and community. And I feel like we have again, this death energy here, and we have a butterfly, which is more of that like Scorpio transformation energy. I feel like you went through a major change, a major shift, and it was a challenge for you. But I kind of get the sense that you had to go through this period of being, because when I cut the deck as well, the Hermit was in the middle, along with the Wheel of Fortune reversed. I feel like something didn't go very, very well, or seemingly didn't go well, and it required that you spend a lot of time by yourself. And I feel like this was necessary and at times may have felt better, but I think that this is something where, again, this culmination energy, there's more clarity about this the older you get. The more in touch with your energy and with your gifts you become, the more you see that, you know, having somebody being taken out of your life, or, you know, having to spend a lot of time alone, is in fact, you know, was in fact a gift for you, to be able to have that time that you need to be sort of like not as influenced by everybody else's energies here. And I will say, you know, with the Five of Cups reversed, if you had to say goodbye to people, again, this is like in this situation, because we're talking about initial like woundings, I feel like this is a mixed bag, right? This is something where like maybe you could see the point in somebody leaving your life, but you still felt kind of sad about it. Maybe you were happy that somebody was gone, but at the same time, you really felt a soul bond with them, because these are both cards like, well, the Four of Wands, and then usually with the Five of Cups, the Two of Cups is referenced when it's reversed, right? You know, it's talking about like that soulmate energy. And when the Five of Cups is reversed, the person on the card can recognize that that Two of Cups is there, right? Can see it for what it is, which is, oh my God, this is a beautiful opportunity, a beautiful person. This is somebody I share, especially because we have two roses here. This is somebody I share a lovely bond with. So there's something here where it's like, it's a mixed bag for you. And I feel like if you couldn't see this at the time, you're starting to kind of unravel this now. And again, especially with like the two cats here, the Two of Cups reference here, the two people here, and the two roses here, this may have had to do with like one person in particular where the relationship you shared could have just been very unhealthy, right? And this even could be a situation where, you know, maybe this was a parent and you were highly enmeshed with this person, right? And it doesn't even have to be like physical or sexual boundaries are violated. It could just be that they're constantly violating your boundaries in general, right? I don't want to say just be like, that's not a lot, but you know, it doesn't have to be quite so sinister either. But this is something where, this could be something where, you know, there's a high level of enmeshment with a parent. So it's like you needed to take space from them. You needed some time away from them, even though they brought you, or, you know, maybe a sibling, like even though this person, this relationship could have brought you a lot of joy. This could have been a source for creativity, a lot of, you know, excitement, a lot of, you know, your life, if it's very action oriented, a lot of happiness in certain moments, a lot of happiness. But when things were not good, they were really not good. And I feel like with the Five of Cups reversed, there's this recognition at some point in childhood that you needed better boundaries with this person, or you needed more time alone, more space to yourself. Because as much as you may have had moments of love with this person, there is ultimately this unhealthy dynamic, right? And so you also may have found with the Wheel of Fortune reverse that there were kind of like a lot of moments of just like divine intervention, especially with support, where you were kind of like left on your own to like, you were left by yourself. And I feel like at the time that felt very unfair, but the older you get, the more you get in touch with your gifts, your abilities, your energy, who you are, what you're here to do, the more you might be kind of seeing why that was incredibly necessary. Yeah, so I want to pull some cards about how this might be impacting you currently. I don't know if I have to burp or not. I'm sorry if I do. Oh, I like seeing this. I was just gonna say, like, I feel like you guys are kind of like on the mend from this situation, more so than like maybe the first group. And we have the Four of Swords at the bottom. That's nice. So that kind of confirms that. Oh, we have the King of Cups, the Two of Cups reversed. There it is, and the Seven of Pentacles. Okay. So for some of you, you might be a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, but I feel like you are asking about a water sign. Or not, maybe not asking about one. So how this is impacting you currently is that I do feel like there is this King of Cups who wants to make you an emotional offer. Or you may have with the Seven of Pentacles, you may have already had like started a relationship with them. There's some level of investment. With this cat being like hovering in the door, I feel like you're trying to decide, do I stay or do I go, right? And there's winter outside this door, right? So it's kind of like this energy of like, do I stay here or do I, you know, go out into the cold and get away from this? And we have this Two of Cups reversed, where the way I feel like this might be impacting you currently is struggling to discern if this is a good situation for you to be investing in. If this is like, this has this energy of like, is this good for me? Is this healthy for me? Or am I repeating the same patterns? Am I repeating the same thing? And you may find that this is something where you've been working on this theme in many relationships, particularly in love relationships. But there's this energy of like, am I repeating the same circumstances, especially if you did suffer with enmeshment, versus is this actually a good relationship? Is this actually a solid relationship? That's what I'm getting from many of you. And this doesn't just have to be like a relationship. I am getting that very strongly. But this is something where I feel like because there is a struggle with boundaries, and also probably to the struggle of like boundaries in terms of you parenting yourself, there's this energy of like, you're, you know, parenting is something that you have to learn how to do, right? Like anything else, it's a job, and it takes time to learn and to become really proficient with it. So when we parent ourselves in childhood, we're literally like a kid raising a kid, right? And then reparenting ourselves is doing that work of going in and refining it, right? And doing it better, and giving ourselves more of the support that we need. And so I do feel like for many people here, this group is really all about reparenting yourself, and it's kind of this energy of like, have I made it? Have I done it? Am I able to make good decisions now? Especially if you have suffered from an enmeshment parent-child relationship in the past. And trying to really figure out if something is good for you, if something is meant for you. Because I feel like that's where the trouble is. And I feel like this is something that's in your life currently where you're like really trying to figure it out. I do want to pull cards about this though, just because I'm curious. I don't want to leave you guys in the lurch. Okay. And I wanted to look at this one real quick too. So we have King of Wands showing up. You could be dealing with a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sag. You could be a fire sign, and the Six of Pentacles at the bottom. I feel like you're trying to figure out if this is a grounded, healthy, reciprocal situation with this person. And without even looking at the cards, I'm kind of getting that yes, it is. There's just like fear in the way just due to your experience, but let's see what you have. Yeah, you have Ace of Cups and the Nine of Cups. Holy shit. Okay. Well, that's lovely. So if you add them together, this makes the 10 of Cups. Yeah, this person's legit. This person is offering you something legitimate. Always use your own intuition and counsel. But I feel like there's something where, again, you've invested with this person. Maybe you've known them for 7 months, 7 years, and you're trying to figure out, am I making a good choice here? And with these two cards coming out, yeah, there's a lot of emotional fulfillment to be had. I feel like with the juice sort of pouring out here, maybe this person is about to like spill their feelings to you, because the King of Cups usually doesn't express that super readily. But this person might have this outpouring of emotion. This person might make a really beautiful gesture to help make a dream come true for you. But this person loves you. This person's offering something very, very sincere. Because again, there's also this question with the cat paw and then the fish here, where it's like, oh my God, am I just like a fish in a bowl at this cat's mercy? Like, what have I done to myself? And I feel like, again, use your own decision, your own discernment, your own intuition. But for many of you, this is a very genuine offer. I feel like this person is about to make their feelings incredibly known. And most importantly, this is really a call for you to be able to trust yourself, right? What I'm hearing is you really earned it. You've earned your stripes. You have done a lot of the work. Again, we had that Four of Swords showing up at the bottom. You've done a lot of your healing work. And it's never perfect, right? But I think you've really sussed out a lot of very complex things here, a lot of very complex emotions and complex situations, and I think you have everything you need to be able to make the decisions you need to make. And you also do have a lot of spiritual support, and even in those moments in your past where it seems like everything was stacked against you, things were actually being moved around in your favor. So yeah, this is mostly what I'm seeing here. I hope this has been helpful if you are looking for this reading for your own specific circumstances. Once again, the link for that reading as well as my shop in general is in the description box below. It has been an honor, a joy, and a delight to get to read for you today on such an important matter. I hope I get the chance to read for you again soon, okay? Take care, love bugs. I'm wishing you the best, the brightest, the most beautiful things that life has to offer. Bye. Hello, group 3. Okay, so y'all were attracted to this goldstone, right? All right. This usually, this is a card for me, or card. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. This is a stone for me a lot about success, abundance, happiness. This has a real Six of Wands vibe to me. So there might be something where you might be really doubting your own, I'm hearing, self-efficacy, your creativity. If you are now in a situation where you're in the spotlight or in the public eye, you might be struggling with your confidence a little bit. For some of you too, this also has to do with your material abundance, really, like something about your money mindset that needs to be healed. So let's see what you have. So this is from a deck that I always use to kind of talk about the overarching energy of this inner child healing that needs to come forth. So let's see what you got. You have Snow Angel. The signs are with you already. Okay. There's no angel like Snow Angel. That's terrible. Don't laugh at that. Don't encourage me. So this is card 4. So again, this is about stability. Let's look at what else you've got. So I mentioned this in the other 2 groups, but everybody got different numbers of different cards from these 3 decks. So just take it as it is. But yeah, so if you watched one of the other ones and you're like, hey, I didn't get the same number of this, or I got more of this one than the other, that's why. I give the number of cards that I'm being led to give. So we have Emerging. I love this for you guys. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. We have, Domestic Harmony, card 46, so that reduces to a 10/1. Okay. We have Rose Quartz, Venus, and Empathy, card 14, so that reduces to a 5. And, okay, we have Lace Agate with the Air Element, card 23, which also reduces to a 5 with Adaptability. Okay, so I'm getting for this group, you might really struggle with change. I feel like for this group, you might really value stability. To the point where we have the Snow Angel and she's like in a dress out in the snow and like flopping around making little snow angels. To the point where like you might be more comfortable staying out in the cold, right? Staying in that wintry kind of energy, if it's stable, if it's what you know. Versus like, look at Emerging, we have this kind of springtime energy with the daffodils. But she looks really nervous a little bit, whereas she looks like confident, but kind of confident in how not in love with that situation she is. There's something where I feel like things are blossoming for you. With Domestic Harmony, this could be in your home. You could be making a lot of changes. In your home, there could be a change, like you could be having a child, you could be moving in with a partner, you could be moving out from a living situation that hasn't really been serving you. So in this deck, as you can see, there are cards where the Merkaba is a different color than the background and cards where they're the same. So when they're the same, I take this to mean that your energy, your internal frequency, is manifesting into your external reality. And when they're different, this is where you have an internal frequency that hasn't fully manifested in your external reality. So we have heart and throat chakra here. I feel like, especially where she's covering both her heart and throat chakra area, there's something that lives within your heart. There's something that you want to change, right? There's some area where you want winter to thaw into spring. And I feel like it would, with 46 reducing to a 10/1, it would require an ending and a new beginning. We have the number 5 showing up twice. It would require change. There's something where, something that you used to call home, whether this is like a job where, you loved what you did, you spent a lot of hours there, or this is a literal living situation. There's something where it used to be good enough. It used to speak to you. It used to provide the security you're looking for, and it's no longer in alignment with you. With the green showing up here, your heart's somewhere else. Your heart is somewhere else, and it's time for a change, right? It's no longer your truth. And this is what needs to shift. This is what needs to change. We have stairs here leading up to the lace agate, so there is this element of ascension. This could involve another person just because we have the 2, we have Rose Quartz and Venus, so this could be a love relationship, but we have the 2 little mollusks here with the pearls. And I've talked about this a million times, but whenever I see pearls, I do think about pearls of wisdom, but also wisdom that's cultivated from difficult experiences, from many cycles, and we can see this with like the multiple little I know they're not moons, but they look like moons over the cup. But it's like it's from many cycles. So like the way a pearl is created is that an irritant, usually a grain of sand, gets inside the shell of a mollusk, and the mollusk will secrete a substance called nacre, and I might be mispronouncing that, I apologize. It's spelled N-A-C-R-E. And this is that pearly iridescent substance that we all know and love. And the mollusk will just secrete that, and they'll coat the irritant, and it will just keep doing that over and over and over again to protect the soft tissue, right? So pearls do always make me think of the lessons we've learned and the wisdom we've gained along the way, but it's in having to access our higher selves, right? We've had to really coat the irritant. We couldn't get rid of it, so we've had to adapt. We've had to, you know, change how we think about a situation, change how we communicate. We've had to access our higher nature. We've had to find more love for self, for others involved, more compassion. We've had to really, really dig deep, right? And out of that, we gain so much wisdom, and it ends up being a thing of beauty where initially it was, sorry, in the back of my head, like initially it was a piece of shit, but like, sorry. Woof, my asthma is laughing its ass off today. That's just really funny. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys have got a saucy sense of humor. It's really funny though. But it is, you've created a thing of beauty out of something that was like initially this like pain in the ass. And I feel like there's almost this energy of whatever the situation was, it's like you've been at it so long, you kind of have like started to identify with it, you become comfortable with it. So maybe this is something, you know, from childhood, there's this fear of change, right? There's this fear of upheaval. It's also maybe where if you've been in the struggle, you've been in the fight for a really long time, the idea of peace might almost feel like an affront, right? It almost might feel like turbulent to you. But this also could be talking about somebody who has been with you since childhood. This could be a parent, this could be, you know, another family member, a close friend. And I feel like there's a lot of love here, but with all the daffodils, there's a new beginning that's trying to emerge for you. And it's something that's a lot more in alignment with what you truly want in the heart space. You know, spring is trying to blossom for you. And at the time I'm filming this, and this is a timeless reading, you know, we are experiencing spring in the Northern Hemisphere. But, you know, metaphorically, spring is trying to blossom for you. And I feel like it requires letting go of someone or a belief or something, especially with the air element here. A belief, a way of thinking about things, a way of communicating, or like a person in particular. We have Venus, so we could be dealing with a Taurus, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius as well. Ooh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Ooh. All right. I apologize. We also have all this blue as well, so very throat chakra energy. But there's something where I feel like you really had to, you've had to go through a lot with this person, with this situation, and now you're getting ready to come into alignment with a new experience. And there's almost like a little bit of, it feels like sadness to leave this behind. So I want to pull tarot. So the first row I usually like to pull for this reading is the initial event or wounding that was created, right? The series of events that created this. And then the second row is talking about how it might be impacting you currently. Boom. Yeah, Four of Wands. I feel like you're trying to step into your joy. With the butterfly here, transformation is trying to occur, but there's a little bit of like fear around this. So we have Ace of Swords. Ooh, excuse my burp or my hiccup. That's the thing I was trying to say. So Ace of Swords. Excuse me. Seven of Swords. And the Magician. Really interesting to me. So Gemini and Virgo energy showing up. Okay. So this means several things. One is I feel like with this person, there has been, it's this weird juxtaposition of like being really honest in some ways and also really hiding things in other ways. So there's a huge emphasis on communication here, right? The sword suit is, you know, that's the air element, that's the mind, that's how we think, that's our perceptions, but it's how we communicate. And the Magician, excuse me, is about I'm so sorry. Wow, I'm really struggling. Communication and manifestation. What I feel like is happening, oh my God, I'm so sorry, is that I feel like you and this person that's involved in this, or like maybe you cultivated a relationship with this person where it's very much based in like, you guys will tell it like it is, even be blunt in some ways, but there's something where like, you know, because this is a card of like of deception and of hiding things, but it's reversed, and we have this card of truth. But the magician can be weird because he can be really about like empowerment, and he can be about, you know, communication and truth, but there's an element of the magician where there's a little bit of slippery stuff here. Excuse me. So I feel like there's something where you and this person have some elements of this connection. I keep saying this person, but I'm really feeling that. You and this person have some elements of this connection where you can be so honest with each other, but others where, and I feel like this is about emotions, others where you can't really fully communicate. This person with the snow angel here has left a really big imprint on you and you on them. And there's something where whatever the dynamic is, because this has this like 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of energy, whatever the dynamic is, you've been doing it for so long, right? There's security in it. Like I said, there's some elements of truth, and this cat's trying to swipe at this bird, right? So maybe, and we have a bird up here too. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Maybe this is something where you and this person are like always kind of like, you have this like slightly toxic dynamic, right? Or again, with the pearls, like you've irritated each other in some way, shape, or form. Maybe one person's trying to kind of control the other person's freedom, you know, and the other person's like not being totally honest with somebody. There's like something here where you're both very upfront about some things, but you're also very like you're also very like you hide things from each other. Again, there's like this sleight of hand kind of energy going on. This is really interesting. I want to actually pull a couple more cards about this before I move on to your next row of tarot, because I have questions. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and the Empress is reversed at the bottom. Excuse me. So again, could be a Taurus or Libra because we have Venus energy. This could be talking about a mother figure. But there's something where whoever this person's been in your life or made an impact on your life that's still like there, right? This person either has been with you since childhood or they were with you in childhood, and the impact they've left has still oh my God, I'm so sorry, has still impacted you. I've been talking for like an hour and I haven't really been having issues with my asthma, and then like it's like that throat chakra energy is kind of acting up here. Yeah, and look, we have this looks like this is like a kitten and the older cat where they look very similar. So this could be like an older sibling I'm really picking up, or like a parent who's almost like a sibling. But there's a situation, you know, this was something where I feel like there's a situation where this set up a dynamic where you've invested a certain amount with this person. And again, it's really interesting because this cat came out in the second group, but it was in a different context. There's the door open, and then there's a scene of winter outside. I feel like you're in this place where, and I know I was talking about this for the initial event, not, you know, how this is impacting you currently, but I feel like you've been in this place with this person. You've gone round and round and round and round, right? Where you've gotten in this place of, do I want to come inside? Do I want to, or, you know, do I want to fully come inside? Do I want to stay inside? Do I want to be an indoor cat, you know, and be in the warmth, be, I'm so sorry, in the comfort? Or do I want to go back out into the cold, into what I know, to what feels stable? Because I feel like with this person, it's so weird. It's like maybe you fight with them, but there's also this element of like, you know, there's this comfort in the connection, even if it's in dysfunction and instability, where it's like you don't want to fight it because it's familiar. And again, with the Wheel of Fortune, I feel like you've gone through the cycle. We have another 10. You've gone, you know, 20 rounds with this person, and it always ends up in the same place. And it's never where you want to be, but it's what you know how to do, right? And I feel like you are concluding this cycle with them, and there's like this mixed emotions of like, you know, maybe it's like, how do I let this person go? How do I, you know, maybe new people are coming into your life who you can communicate with at a very authentic emotional level. And it's like, how do I open up like that? There's this trepidation, because at least in this situation, because again, she's got her little hand on her hip, but the body language here is very timid, very nervous, because at least in this situation, you knew what you were doing. And I feel like there's fear moving into this new situation, because whatever this is, it's like you're moving away from the home that you understand, even if it's not where you want to be. And now that you're getting what you want, you're getting more love, you're getting the change you're looking for. It's like, it almost feels like unstable a little bit, where it's like, well, what do I do now? Or, you know, how do I relate to these people? How do I welcome in this new dawn when I don't know how to do that, right? I don't know how to be in spring. I've only ever known winter. Excuse me. And I feel like it has something to do with the relationship with this person. And again, this is very much about communication, how you think, you know, how you share your feelings with other people, emotional communication for sure. Maybe you're used to, with this person, having to really hold your emotions back. Like, you can like speak the truth, because I was feeling saucy when I started your reading. So maybe you can like speak the truth. You can kind of like bust each other's chops a little bit, but there's an element where you're never fully revealing how you feel, right? There's some kind of tension and like push-pull here, where it both is and it isn't, right? So it is very truthful and very honest in some ways, but it's very, you know, manipulative, or very like, you know, the communication is not great in other ways. And I feel like now you're kind of reaching this point with this person where you're kind of like, you know what, I don't really want to do this anymore. Or maybe you're getting an opportunity to do something different, and now you have to tell this person like, hey, I think we should, you know, excuse me, I think we should take a break. I think we need better boundaries. You know, I'm going in this direction. I just thought you should know. There's something where it feels like you're afraid to tell this person, as well as afraid to actually take the leap. So let's pull cards and actually look at how this might be impacting you currently. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to leave those sideways. Okay. Yeah, okay. So with the King of Cups here, it's really interesting. And the Hermit's at the bottom. More Virgo energy. There is cat fur everywhere. More Virgo energy showing up. So, yeah, these ones came out sideways, and I kind of want to honor that. Because whenever it comes out sideways, this to me is like energies in flux. With the King of Cups, this could be a water sign that you're moving toward. But I also feel like this is the energy that you're moving into. This is Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. This is somebody who's very emotionally mature, very emotionally balanced. Somebody who knows what they want. I feel like you are emerging into this energy of being much more in touch with the desires of your heart, much more willing and open to communicate about those. And we have Justice and the Eight of Wands that came out sideways. So again, this is energy in flux. When it's upright, this is a card of communication, fast forward movement, you know, travel, optimism, expansion. This is Mercury and Sagittarius. And we have more Libra. So this is balance, right? You know, this is relationships, balanced partnerships. I feel like you're getting to this place where you're really getting in touch with what you want emotionally, and you're thinking about how to communicate about that in the partnerships you keep in your life, right? And again, we oh my God, I'm so sorry. We have this energy, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I am so sorry. Of this cat, this outdoor cat coming inside. Like, you're ready to come inside now, or you very soon will be. And I feel like there is this understanding with the Eight of Wands that this energy is moving faster and faster, right? It's like once you cross this threshold, things are going to move forward in a new and very expansive direction for you. And there are going to be people in your life, or dynamics from important people in your life, that can't go with you anymore. And there's a little bit of trepidation, a little bit of fear about how to handle this. And I feel like what needs to be healed here is really this understanding that it's like this person served a really important purpose in your life, but it's also okay to change and to move toward what's actually going to make you happy, because isn't that kind of the point of life? And And even if this person's not super happy about it, that's okay. They have their own journey to work through. They have their own stuff they've got to do. And where they're at shouldn't have to dictate where you're at, right? Because you are ready for this new beginning. You are ready to emerge into this. Otherwise, Spirit wouldn't give you that opportunity. I kind of want to pull you guys a couple cards of advice, just because I'm feeling drawn to. Oh, okay, I guess you get 3. And we have the Emperor at the bottom. Look how cute. So yeah, don't be afraid to take a control role in your life in this situation and for your happiness, to advocate for your happiness. So for advice, oh shit, okay, we have the Tower. Wow, the World reversed. Wow, and the Moon, 3 major arcanas. Holy God. Okay, so we have we have Aquarian energy here, and we have Cancer and Pisces represented with the Moon. Can we also talk about this cat's like looking at the spider like, what? Yeah, so I do feel like there's going to be some intense kind of shift. At the time I'm filming this, we're heading into eclipse season, so that might play out here. There's going to be an intense shift, and this always too with the spiders is like, this to me is like revealing your patterns, right? This is something in your subconscious. This is something emotional. I do feel like there's going to be an event that's like, this doesn't feel like an epiphany. I feel like this is something that happens. This is a conversation. This is like an event that transpires between you and somebody else. We have like the balcony in the house that's depicted. So this may have to literally do with, you know, with a home. But we also have, you know, this cat's up high, this cat's up high, and this cat's up high. There's something where this is trying to give you an elevated perspective. And I feel that this is trying to give you an elevated perspective so you can not only see your own patterns, but you can kind of see, because spiders have that dualistic image where they are very creative, but they can also be seen as deceptive, right? You can also kind of see like what's your stuff, what's your patterns, as well as like who's on your team and in your corner. And I feel like you're going to really be seeing things a lot more clearly as a result of this. And this is to help you close out a cycle that you've been struggling to close out for a really long time. So just beware of that. Excuse me. Beware of that, because that is coming to a close soon. It is going to be, you know, we have 3 major arcanas. It is going to be a BFD, but it's going to really help free you, because I kind of, now I'm nosy. I want to pull. So on the other side of this is, oh, it's this one. It went goodbye. Oh, nice. The 3 of Cups and the Fool. Perfect. The Fool always follows the Moon. Yeah, and the 4 of Cups reversed at the bottom. I feel like after this, it's really going to show you who's like in alignment with you, who's helping you out, who's on your team and in your corner, but also what brings you happiness, right? And it's going to give you the courage you need to just friggin' go for it, especially with the 4 of Cups reversed at the bottom. If you've been hesitating, we have the Lotus imagery here. So there's this enlightenment, there is this acceptance, and there is this blossoming that's happening. So I hope this has been helpful. If you are looking for this reading for yourself, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below, as well as my shop link in the description box below. It has been an honor, a joy, and a delight to get to read for you folks on something so important. I'm so glad that you were here with me today. I hope I get to read for you again in the future. And I'm just wishing you the best, the brightest, and the most beautiful things that life has to offer. Take care, love bugs. Bye.